What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blitz of Books. Happy Thursday. How's it going, Mike?
Happy Thursday indeed, Wade. Hey, we got football tonight, baby. A little Thursday night football. And yeah, excited to talk a little week 15 action with you, man. We got to get back on track, just kind of like with college. I stumbled big time last week in both NFL and college. So we got to get things right. It's our get right spot, baby. Get right spot.
Yeah, man, that's gonna happen. No, it's you actually carried the show there for quite a while. I think you went on a 8-0, 9-0 run with your college football and NFL picks. So it's we're obviously all due for a couple losses here, and I think last week we got pretty lucky. Ended up going 1-4, which dropped our hit percent from 61% down to 56%. But I think we'll still be able to improve that and end up over 60% for the year once it's all said and done. Right now we're sitting at 18-14 after a 1-3 week. Mike gave out the first half in the Buccaneers -5.5, -105. That one missed, and then Tyler Warren. I ended up taking his anytime touchdown play too, and I actually ended up taking Tyler Warren's receptions as well in that game. And I think the Jones injury and then obviously the weather with all the rain. I don't know how much that had to factor into it, but he had 6 targets, ended up with 2 catches, and just did not happen for. I really actually thought it was gonna hit when I woke up Sunday morning. There was only one book that had him plus 190. All the other books had actually moved his touchdown down to almost plus 150, plus 145.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were aware of that. So I thought that we were actually in for the good there, and you know,
Yeah, you can't predict a torn Achilles. That's tough. Riley Leonard still almost hit him for a touchdown pass. He had him near the goal line there over the middle and missed him. So that was kind of a bummer. I thought we were still maybe going to sneak in with that one, but wasn't meant to be.
it was not meant to be. And then obviously we both missed our Falcons +7 play. They got pretty much ran out of their
Oh,
own building. And then we were lucky enough to cash a plus 105 Kyron Williams anytime touchdown. I think for the foreseeable future, you should probably just take his anytime touchdown against the Cardinals until he doesn't score on them.
yeah.
I bet you next game against the Cardinals, he's going to be a 150 or higher price probably. But let's jump into this week. Obviously, we've got the Falcons Buccaneers game tonight. You got any thoughts on that game before we dive into our best bets
Yeah.
here?
It's an ugly game, Big Wade. I tell you that. The current number, not really sure what I'd do. I did play a little bit of the Bucks at -4. I found some reduced use -105. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember when. Kind of
Mm.
was hoping to buy at the bottom on Tampa. It's a gotta have it game for them. They're tied with Carolina for the NFC South lead. But man, oh man, don't love it by any means. Now it's kind of in that dead zone. I'm seeing 5.5 and some fives out there at most shops on the odd screen here. If it gets closer to 7, I'd probably look at the Falcons. I know we talked a little bit off air about that, but
Hmm.
yeah, I wouldn't mind maybe a middle shot if I could get 7 the other way with Atlanta. But I don't
Yeah,
need
we did not. I have not gotten to that play officially. Looking at it last night, I do think I would probably play the +6.5, +7 on the Falcons now, but it's almost like a stay away. It's ugly. I agree. The Buccaneers need this game. Gosh, but it's hard to back a team that's. I don't know if they've covered the spread or they just lost one of the last one of the last 8 games. They've just not covering the spread. So I
yeah,
don't know. It's tough. But I like we talked off air before we started this. I really like the Buccaneers' offensive weapons. So
yeah. And they're getting
they should
Evans
be able to
back.
cover this line.
They're getting Mike Evans back. They're getting Jalen McMillan back. That should help some. I don't know how much they're going to play. Both are cleared to play. Are they going
Yeah.
to be on the snap count? Probably coming off injury, you'd think.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird, It's Bucks were rolling, all year long they're rolling, and now they've hit the skids. 1-4 their last 5. Painful, embarrassing loss to the Saints last week. But here's a gotta have it spot. I don't really know Atlanta's mental state after that shellacking. They were tied 6-6 with Seattle
Yeah.
at the half.
Yep.
And Wade and I are good, holding +7, +7.5 in
Hmm.
the pocket. They're showing some fight. Captain Kirk looks good. And what happens? The Seahawks take the opening second half kickoff back 100 yards for a
All the way back.
touchdown. And that's just that was really, I knew we were cooked, man. When something like that happens, you just like, no, ain't meant to be.
No, it wasn't meant to be, but yeah, I think even though we are both on possibly opposite sides on the game, I do think if you could have got early in like you did on the Bucks, that's possibly the best side to be on. But I think if you want to look at props, I think we both are liking the look of something on the Bucky Irving side. So if you guys want to look at any props, maybe take a look at him. I also don't mind maybe taking a look at Baker Mayfield's over 19 and a half completions. I think obviously in a must-win game. He's actually a player I like to look at his rushing yards and rushing attempts. Catch a few of his rushing yards this year, but I think against this Falcons defense and a prop that you may not be looking to take because the Falcons do have a good pass defense throughout the season. I just think he's going to be forced to pass the ball to win this game. And I think 19 is a pretty low number where he probably could reach 24, 25 completions here by the end of the game, especially if it's a close one. Um, so we'll see. But we're going to start this week off. I'm going to kick us off since Mike's going to give us a play in the Sunday night game. We're going to go to the Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals game, and I am going to make a play on the Ravens -2. You can get that for -120 over on Hard Rock. Look, Baltimore heads into this rematch in a prime revenge spot, having just lost to Cincinnati at home as an almost 7-point favorite. Even worse, the game was on Thanksgiving, and when a primetime embarrassing loss, usually a team will be more focused. They turned around, had a week in between, but now that's pretty quick revenge spot, which I think most people would like to be on the team looking for the revenge. Now with Joe Burrow back under center for his third straight game, the public has piled onto Cincinnati here. Looking right around 70 plus ticket percentage or more for basically the entire week, money line and spread. Yet they remain the dog. Plus 140, I believe, is their money line, and they're sitting around 2.5 to 3 point underdogs. And I think this is going to be a classic fade the public dog spot. This is usually a pretty good spot historically in the NFL. If you've got heavy public backing a dog, usually it's profitable to take the other team. And I'm just going to do it. And I think that the numbers back it here. Despite Joe Burrow's return, previous victory over the Ravens, Baltimore still rates 8 spots higher on the aggregate power ratings. And though they have played a much tougher schedule, usually we think that's going to go against them, but I actually think it's going to bode well for them here. Cincinnati is coming off a brutal loss, which was played in the cold and the snow, where they gave every effort to beat the Bills, just coming up short. Before that, they played this Baltimore team. They played New England, they played Pittsburgh, and they played the Chicago Bears. Really, all teams that are pretty physical and all put up a fight. Perhaps the Bengals are going to be coming into this game a little more worn down, especially on the defensive end. Baltimore currently sits just one game behind Pittsburgh for the division lead, and they have dropped 2 straight games, both in the division, which I think that's going to have their ears pinned back a little bit more in their game, and I think this game means a little bit more to them. From a matchup standpoint, we can talk about Baltimore. They still have some edges on both sides of the ball. Looking first at the Ravens defense versus the Bengals offense. Cincinnati ranks 30th in rushing yards, 86 and a half per game, 26th in passing yards, which obviously is going to improve with Burrow. 31st in yards per play at 5.2. I honestly expect that to be right around 6 or higher with Burrow. So you might be able to throw some of these terrible offensive numbers out of the window. Um, Now that Burrow's kind of back and working a little bit, his third week third week in a row to start here. But I just think that poor efficiency for an offense that's going to face a Baltimore defense that still sits top 10, red zone defense. They're top 11 in first downs allowed, and they're still top 15 in QB hits. Um,
Yep.
what surprised me even more was before these last 2 losses, which where they allowed 27 and 32 points. Baltimore allowed 10, 16, 19, 6, 16, and 17. So those 6 straight games under 19 points allowed. That 17 points they allowed was to this Rams offense who's scoring on everybody. So in the 6 games prior, they obviously their defense showed that they can slow down high-powered offenses, which I would consider the Bengals a high-powered offense when they have Joe Burrow at quarterback. So I just think the Bengals have an opportunity to right the ship with their defense here. There's no way they're going to give up, I don't think, 25 plus points 3 straight weeks. But that'll be seen. Now on the other side of the ball, the Ravens offense versus the Bengals defense is, I think it's an even clearer mismatch here. Cincinnati ranks 32nd in rushing yards allowed. They're allowing 155 per game. 32nd in yards per play allowed, so sitting at 6.3 per play, and 31st in passing yards allowed, 254 per game. That's 20th, and they're also ranked 28th in red zone defense, so they're allowing their opponents to score at a 64% clip. It's no secret that the Bengals defense is bad. One key note is that Baltimore is coming off a 200+ yard game on the ground. Something that I do think they can continue to utilize this week. Baltimore brings a top 3 rushing offense right around 142.9 per game, which is a top 10 unit in yards per play as well. And they still have Lamar Jackson that can make big plays in big games. If they can just find more success in game 2 on the ground, I think they can keep Burrow and this offense with limited time of possessions, which is the key here. And I think we can just lay this small number with -2. I think I can play it up to -3. We may be looking at a push. I believe the last time Baltimore went into Cincinnati, they did win, but they only won that game by 3. So if you can get anything 2.5 to 2 would be optimal, but I would play this up to -3 if you guys want an even better odds.
Yeah, I think this is a good revenge spot here for the Dirty Birds. Wade hit on something good there. That was pretty embarrassing getting blown out by a divisional rival on Thanksgiving night with the whole freaking world watching.
Yep.
They remember that. Hey, if I was Baltimore, I wouldn't even really bother throwing the ball. I'd just hand it to Henry every time. I'd do some, design runs with Lamar, and then I'd get
Yep.
Keaton Mitchell in there, man. He's a
Yep.
heck of a third down back. Little guy, real fast. Dude's averaging 7.4 yards per carry, Big Wade. My goodness. Put that in perspective. King Henry's only averaging 4.6 yards per
I
carry, and
agree.
much smaller sample size for Keaton.
Yep.
But man, oh man, I mean, I wouldn't worry about. I think sometimes the Ravens, Todd Monken gets a little too cute and he wants to force the passing game. It's like, dude, you got still one of the best run backs in football. You've got a very dangerous QB who's fleet of foot. I know you don't want to get Lamar hurt, but man, it's put up or shut up time. You're sitting 6-7, and you're still in second in the NFC North. But man, they're that loss to Pittsburgh really, really hurt them a few weeks ago. So they've got to start getting right and getting right now. I think it's a good spot for them. Losing 2 straight, this is the time for them. I think Lamar's finally healthier from what I've seen. That's
Mhm.
going to help them a lot. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That was a draining game for Cincy at Buffalo in the snow.
Yeah.
That was rough. They left it all out there. Really wonder what they got left in the tank here. I know it's a home game for them, but yeah, it's just seems like a Ravens revenge spot. I don't normally like laying points on the road, but since it's under a field goal, I'm all for it here. It's the only way I could be the Ravens. Good stuff.
Yeah, and last week we're looking here. Keaton Mitchell had, like you mentioned, 6 carries, 76 yards, 12.7 average per carry. If he had a long carry of 55 yards, very explosive. I think they keep that going. They're even a team that likes to utilize the wide receiver sweep, so they're going to get plenty of carries in this game. Um, I think they're going to do everything they can to keep the ball away from Joe Burrow, and I think it's going to work this week.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. Good stuff. Good stuff. I like it.
What
And y'all
is
go check that out. The full write up he has over at where'd we put that one at? BettersInsider.com. We put that.
bettersinsider.com?
Yeah, we put that up there on the flagship site, Big Wade's article. It's actually front and center right now. So go check that out. Read his whole write up, his whole reason in there. You'll love it. It's a fantastic article. Put that up a couple hours ago. So check that out.
Yep, go ahead and grab that article and make sure you guys like and subscribe to this video. Leave a comment if you agree with our plays. If you don't, what are your favorite plays for this week? We would like to know as well because we're always looking for to find that edge in the market as well. So
Oh yeah, we'll take all the help we can get, baby. It's us versus the books, and yeah, that's what we do. We're all here, hopefully, to help each other make money. What's all about.
let's go. Now we have a game, Mikey, that you are going to be talking about Sunday night football. We've got the Vikings heading down to Dallas. Obviously, we've got Dallas coming off of that 44-30 loss at Detroit on Thursday, where we all cashed beautifully on the Lions to cover that game. And they're welcoming in the Vikings, who were shut out the game prior, and then last week they ended up shutting out Commanders, winning 31-0. So, what do you like in this game, my man?
Yeah, this kills me, man. Y'all know I'm the resident Cowboys homer here on the show. I love Dallas, but hey, I have no problem betting against them, baby. My real allegiance is to our bankroll. I'm taking the Vikings plus 6.5. Found that minus 115 over at FanDuel, still available, by the way. Big Wade is just
Yes, it
too many
is.
points, man. It's just too many points in my book. I get it's a bounce back spot for Dallas. They got some slim playoff hopes. I read online that they got a 9% chance of making the playoffs, not a whole lot. I get they need the game. However, if we say in Stephen A. Smith's voice, I don't think Dallas's defense can be trusted to cover a full touchdown here, even at home. Minnesota surprisingly 10th in yards per rush gained. I think they could maybe do some damage on the ground. Dallas D sitting
Mhm.
just 27th in yards per rush allowed. I know it's gotten better since they got Quentin Williams, but man, oh man, we saw Detroit gash them last week for 44 points. Now, the Vikings offense is not exactly as powerful or as potent as Detroit's, but I like what JJ McCarthy finally showed some promise last week. 31 zip route that you alluded to against Washington. Former Michigan star tossed 3 touchdown passes, looked a whole heck of a lot more comfortable in the pocket. Finally, maybe he's coming into his own. I don't know. Crazy as this may sound, Big Wade, I really have these two teams ranked in my power rankings fairly similar. I make Dallas about a 2.5 point favorite here at home. We'd need to adjust that down, though, if CeeDee Lamb doesn't play. I know he's still in concussion protocol, but he has practiced the last 2 days. So who really knows with Lamb? Really don't care. I think there's plenty of value with Minnesota. I played him there, and I did sprinkle the money line a little bit. As much as it kills my Cowboys' heart, I do have a Tony Dorsett autographed football in the background here somewhere. You can't see it. So it does kill me to say this, but I could see Minnesota. This would be the most Dallas Cowboys Jerry Jones thing ever to lose this game and put a final nail in the coffin, the playoff hopes. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. A lot to like here about Minnesota. I think they're getting a little better here. At least they looked good last week.
Well, and I think I'm going to agree here with that pick. It's one of the games that I told you off air I looked at. I have not gotten to the window officially yet, but it's starting to trend as a play for me. Dallas is a huge public play this week, and it's
Yeah,
always a good. It's always a good look to try to find the first kind of how I handicap my NFL games anymore. I'm kind of trying to find the teams that are all public heavy and seeing who they're playing and if there's a possible play on the other side. And I think with the Vikings finding some rhythm last week, they're going to build off of that win. Um, we've seen Cowboys obviously when they played the Green Bay Packers, they went 40-40 and they had a tie here. So
yeah,
um,
exactly.
Vikings, another stat that we could also throw in here is the Minnesota Vikings are 5-1, which is an 83.3% hit rate against the spread in their last 6 games versus the bottom 10 scoring defenses in the league. So
There
um,
you go.
that's got a pretty good trend written all over for it. So I like both these plays here. I think we're gonna go on a 2-0 sweep and get right back on the horse here. I'll do a quick rundown and we'll get out of here. I gave out the Ravens -2, -120. And then Mike gave out the Vikings +6.5, -115. You can go over and grab that right now on FanDuel. So, what do you got? Any more last words, man?
No, that's it. Let's get these two sides. We'll be back tomorrow with some props, baby. And
Yep.
yeah, thank y'all for watching, man. It's always a good time sitting down, talking a little ball.
Yep. Let's have a good one, and we will be back tomorrow. See you guys.
Be good.